think we're live. Are we live? Yes, we're live.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, everyone. We're starting a little bit late today because we had tech issues, but we're here. Beth Barany here with Gala Russ. And today we're going to talk to you about marketing, how to market your fiction without ads, y'all, without ads, because that's what we're going to explore today. So we're going to take you on a little adventure, Gala and I, and we want to hear from you. If you're able to post into the chat what it is that you're writing, and how do you feel about marketing? How do you feel about it? Do you love it? Like Gala was saying, when you first started Gala, you're like, all right, marketing, I love it.
Yeah.
You have a degree, right? You have a bachelor's degree?
I have a master's degree. So I have a bachelor's in education and ESL, English as a second language. And then I have a master's in marketing and communications. So to me, marketing is like a slam dunk. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Everybody should be doing marketing. Like marketing is so much fun too. Like figuring out what can you talk about, what can attract people to your product. So to me, that's fun. Like in the book, there's fun and games. To me, marketing is fun and games. So
that's great, because I started out at the other end of the spectrum as a novelist. I was like, so like a little frayed rabbit. You know, I love my book, but I was so kind of frozen in fear around marketing. Not that I didn't think it was important, but that I was like afraid about it, afraid what to do, afraid to talk about my book in one sentence when I had spent years writing this novel. So, but now I feel marketing is an invitation. Marketing is sharing our gifts with the world, and the sharing part is what's fun, in addition to the writing part. But I like to share. I don't really think of it as marketing, like pushing sales onto someone. I think of it like, come to this party, you like this, and also like, kind of like inviting people into your restaurant. Also, I love food metaphors. Inviting people, like, hey, do you want Middle Eastern food? Do you want Mexican food? Do you want Italian food? Like, I don't take it badly if someone doesn't like what I'm offering.
No, but that's the whole point. This is exactly what I like about marketing. And now that I've been learning about sales for the last 3 months, I'm trying to, I was super afraid of sales. I'm still kind of not very comfortable with them, but I think that was where probably you started with marketing. To me, switching the brain space, because how many things do we buy? How many things do we want to buy, right? There's so many things that I want to buy. And like, I cannot pass by. Like, I have a ton of different fidget toys like on my desk, and I go and I probably buy more fidget toys than I need, but I really do use them but sometimes they are just kind of like a fancy things. But there are random places that I find out about these fidget toys, sometimes from a friend. I had a friend who I interviewed, and she had this fidget toy, and I'm like, oh my God, what the heck is this? And then she explained it to me, and then I got it, and I love it. And then some other things, I went to a coffee shop, and they had a little market, and then they have this fidget toy there, and I'm like, oh, this is so much fun. They're like little magnetized things. And sometimes I go and my internet serves me one. That's where the ads come in. But I like, nobody forced me to buy the things. I'm like, oh my God,
You love them.
A different way to move my hands when I'm anxious. Like, I love it. This is so much fun. So think about marketing is somebody is wanting to read a mystery book, and then they see, it was like, oh yeah, I was looking for a mystery book like that, with the protagonist who also has a cat, and I don't know, who is a teenager, and now they see your book, and that's what your book is about. I'm like, that's exactly what I want. I'm gonna go get it. It's letting people know that it exists.
Right. So I don't know. Let's assume folks who are listening want to do this. They want to market their novels without ads. Where do we begin? And I realize we didn't give our intros today. So let's give our little intros.
It's so weird. Tech has been messing with us.
Started late and everything. So both of us are published authors. I'll have Gala introduce herself. I have published 12 novels in 3 series, and I'm still writing and I'm still releasing. And I also have 5 books out for writers. I'm a specialist in science fiction and fantasy. I write it, and I read it and I help authors with it from the whole, everything from, usually I'm helping authors with, once they've finished the first draft, and I help them with their editing and my edit lab, which I can tell you about at the end. I help people also with their marketing and their branding, and how do you do it from the heart? That's my perspective. How do we do it from the heart? How do we do it with our principles, with our own integrity? We do not violate our sense of self and our creative passions to be able to market. I believe we can marry those two. And along with Gala, we run these Substacks. We also teach together in the Creative Entrepreneur Incubator, which exists here on Substack as well, where we help creative people start their creative businesses, especially creative writers and others as well. And my passion is helping people. I'm a producer. I love helping people put their art into the world and release it in the form of a book, a podcast, a YouTube channel. And also I'm working on my own short film based on my own Henrietta the Dragon Slayer series. So eventually I will be also running a studio. In fact, I'm going to be running it sooner than I think, which is with the help of Substack. So y'all will hear about that some other time. So Gala, tell us about you. I love running these Substacks with you because we have such wonderful complementary skill sets and also lots of overlapping things too.
Yeah. I also am an author. I have written, I have finished 15 books. I had several of them published on Wattpad as serialized fiction, and then I have 9 of them published as books with my co-author under the pen name Willa Drew. So like a lot of stuff that you see behind me, that's Willa Drew stuff. And my specialty is I like working with beginners. Like Beth is more on advanced side. I like working with beginners. I like working with people who are working on their first book, starting to finish their first draft, starting their first draft, finishing their first draft, doing their first edit, whatever first. I really like being there for the people in there first, because I can help them avoid a lot of mistakes that I've made. You cannot avoid all of the mistakes. We do need to make our own mistakes, but to cut the time and kind of overwhelm and get more clarity as a result. So you don't go into this like, oh my God, there's so many things, but you go and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, then this, then this, then this. And you just kind of follow a path rather than trying to swim through the morass of advice that is out there. I really like iterative approach, kind of layers. And this is partially what we're going to talk today about too, is instead of trying to do everything all at once, do one thing at a time and then layer them. As you learned this, then learn the next thing, and then now you have 2 things to play with, a little bit like juggling with the balls, like figure out 1, then 2, then you add the 3rd ball, the 4th. You don't start learning to juggle with 6 balls at the same time. That's
Yeah,
my approach to almost everything,
I love it.
including writing and writing advice and marketing advice. So I'm really, really glad to be here today.
Yeah. So there you are, authors, writers. You're either looking to publish your first novel, or maybe you have been publishing and you're like, I'm finally ready to put my attention on marketing. What you're on this adventure. I look at any project like an adventure. You got your backpack, you've got your map, you've got your compass. Where are you going and what are you bringing with you? So when we think about marketing, I don't know about, both of us have been marketing for quite some time as authors, as published authors, but, and you have like 12 books published, I think, under the wing.
9 books published.
9 books published.
9.
That's great. So
Yeah.
we're both working writers. We're both working on first drafts. We've done the whole thing. So today, what our marketing looks like is not the same way it looked like when we first started. So I just want to say, we understand when you're starting out, you need to figure out what it is you want to do. And that's the goal, right? That's the goal of the adventure. So if you're looking at a map and it says you are here, that's right where you are right now. And then you're looking at your destination. What is that destination? So this is the first thing I always like to start with, is notice where you are, but notice where you want to go. What is that? And I know at the beginning, it's often like, how do I find my readers, right? How do I find my readers? So I want to talk about a little bit about how to find your readers when you're just starting out. And I also want to say, what are you taking with you on this marketing adventure of marketing your book? So when you're just starting out, we have what we have. We probably have a skill set from our previous adventures when we weren't a published writer. So, Gala, for you, what was a few things that you would say are in your backpack, meaning your skill sets, when you were starting out with that first book is coming out and you're like, oh, I know how to do this and that, or, what's in your backpack? Skills, competencies, beliefs, interests. And you kind of told us the thing you love. For you, marketing is fun.
Yeah, for me.
So you probably have a lot of things in that backpack. When I started out,
Well,
I had a lot fewer, but you tell us.
yeah. When I started, I already had a lot because, again, I do have a degree in marketing, but I also worked as a consultant, and I have built websites for small businesses. I ran blogs for other people. I ran social media for my course as a volunteer communications and marketing specialist. I also spent about 5 years at Toastmasters learning how to do public speaking. And at that point, my goal was to be on a TED Talk. I could never get on a TED Talk, but that was my goal. I really enjoy being in front of a camera and being in front of a group of people and conveying ideas. I, however, have not at all been on social media with videos. So like all of the videos that I've done is taking videos of somebody else or doing stills. I've never taken videos of myself, and that ended up being kind of like the very first class that I took as an author trying to figure out my marketing was how to do TikTok. And it was in 2020 when TikTok was all the rage, and how to do videos of myself. Like, what can I do? How can I do it? So, but again, I had a lot in
Yeah.
my
So let's,
backpack there.
yeah, lots of great skills in your backpack. I think in my backpack, I had the gift of gab, and I like to talk to people. And this was in my first book came out in January of 2011, I believe. Yeah, it's been 15 years. So, but I had already published 3 nonfiction books. So I had the experience of book production, but I did not have the experience of Beth as a fiction author. I didn't know how to talk about my brand, but I did know how to talk about story as a writing teacher. So that was interesting. And I did have a publicity background. So I remember the days of fax machines and sending out press releases. And I worked as a book publicist in nonfiction back in my 20s in the, what are we talking now? God, I can't even do math right now. Late 90s and early 90s. No, yeah, something like that. So I knew the process. I was, like I said, afraid, afraid to market my own work. It felt very vulnerable. That's a big thing. It felt very vulnerable to market my own fiction. So yeah, thanks, Gala, for posting in the chat. If you're able to post in the chat, what skills do you have in your backpacks? Share in the comments. Something I noticed, my husband is also a fiction writer. And one of the things that we also had in our backpacks is we had a local network. We were connected to writing communities here in the San Francisco Bay Area. So we got invited early on to book fairs. We both released our first novels the same year. We went to local book fairs, and there I was behind the table because I'm good at organization. So that's another strength I have. I can organize a table. I can get us there. Oh, here's where we need to be. And what do we need to bring? Oh, we need bookmarks, and and who's going to come? Oh, Ezra's going to come, my husband. Oh, do we need a helper? Okay, who can help? And then when we get there, I'm behind the table, ready. And I have my list to sign. I knew, oh, here's another strength of mine, getting people on the email list. So I had my spreadsheet paper that people can fill out. My husband is on the other side of the table, the public side. And he is saying to people, what do you like to read? And then when he got their answer, he would direct them to our fellow authors' tables or our table. All of a sudden, I saw a side of him I did not know. And there was his strength popping out, this ability to be like the welcomer and to direct people and be in that joy of reading. And I was just like blown away. And he wrote some great articles about this, like how to prepare to be sell your books in person. How do you hook them? And that was an incredible strength. And as soon as he started doing that, I'm like, oh, he's kind of acting like my salesman father, who was very friendly and welcoming and could direct people and made people feel welcome. I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually a strength of mine too, to help people feel welcome, and welcome them in. And I just was still caught in my little afraid kind of like, oh, I'm marketing my fiction. Oh, I'm a little bit afraid. And there he was, not at all like that. I mean, he has, like you, he has stage, he's been a singer, he's been on stages, and it's like
Yeah,
his,
I've been a singer too. Yeah, I've sang all my life
yeah,
too, so that definitely contributes to that.
definitely it does. And I don't have a lot of stage. I mean, I played I played percussion and you're in the back and you're keeping the rhythm, you know? So, maybe you have stage experience. Maybe you have the gift of gab. Maybe you have, like, you started fiction in 2020, like full on in the internet age. I started way before. So that's also why it took me a while to kind of get my sea legs around.
Mhm.
I love social media once I started playing it with it because it's the gift of gab. I get to chat on Twitter. That was fabulous. It totally fed my chattiness.
And
So
also that is another thing. So like I like long form things and I have tried to do short form things and it's just not my thing. I do not enjoy writing short stories. My lives when I do them without Beth are at least an hour long and frequently longer. My articles are long. I've written 2 trilogies and right now I'm writing a third trilogy. Like I am a long form through and through. And for a while I was trying to uh, battle against that. And then I realized, no, there are people who appreciate a long form article or a long form video. Like that is okay. And like for me, Twitter never took off because I'm like, write something pithy in the such like it's just not a strength that I have. That is not fun. It's
yeah,
stressful. To me, making something short is a lot of work. Like there's some kind of a phrase
yeah,
saying that writing a short sentence is a lot more work than writing a long one. For
yeah.
me, 100%. Like that's gonna be like four
Ooh,
hours later, I have
right. The
a
short,
tweet like,
yeah.
oh,
And for me, it came very naturally. Just, I don't know why. Like when I was in eighth grade, we had to write a telegram and tell a story in in the length of a telegram. You know, that was a writing, creative writing exercise, and I excelled at it. I don't know why. I'm like, ooh, give me short form. Let me make it work. So notice: are you a short form writer? Are you a long form writer? Where is your sweet spot? You don't have to be on camera if you don't want to be, actually. And I just want to say, Jay has posted in the chat. He's spent the last 2 years getting to know Facebook, Substack, and Scribophile while improving his writing skills and coming from a tech background. Great. So I would say the fact that you have tech background and you have facility, getting to know all those things, that's awesome, right? That's a strength. So,
yeah, there's so much tech
um,
in marketing right now. There's so many things like I could never figure out. I still don't know. Like there's a Zapier where you post here and it actually like makes a zap and now it posts it in 15 different
I,
places. I always think like I want to do that, but it is I never got there. So like IFTT, yeah, like if you're a tech
yeah,
person, you like repurposing of things might be much easier for you because there's a lot of technology where you post in one place and then technology makes it so that you actually appear
oh,
in multiple
Substack
places.
is doing a good
Yeah,
job. Yeah, I mean that's one of my strengths. I was never afraid of technology, and I'm also, I'm not quite an early adopter, but I'm an early. Ooh, what's going on over there? What's going on? Like I'm infinitely curious about everything. So
I
let's,
think I'm
yeah,
curious as well. I think, yeah, I
yeah,
think I'm always curious at least.
yeah. What is this thing? How are people using this thing? So there's also your beliefs are part of your backpack. So if you believe that um, writing, that marketing sucks, then maybe you're not going to go on this marketing adventure. But if you believe that there is a way through, you're going to find a way through. There's going to be hazards on this marketing adventure, right? You're going to have the dark forest. You're going to have the raging river. There's going to be hazards. There's going to be sleet and hail. There's going to be nights where you're like, I don't have shelter, right? Like there's just going to be problems. But when we're on an adventure, we don't give up. I guess that's an unspoken assumption I have. Do not give up. There is a way. We can find the way through. And thanks, Jay. Civil engineer, just not experienced in communications. Yeah. So here's my premise. This is my belief. If you can write a novel, you can learn how to market. because marketing is just another form of communication. You just did the hardest thing. Most people can't write novels. And here you are,
Yeah.
you've done it, and you're looking towards publication, and you're like learning. If you've learned all the things to be a fiction writer, which ton of things, I believe you can learn how to market. So I want to jump into, you
I
have
have one more thing, Jay, for you. We both follow. I actually just joined the lifetime membership list for Liz Wilcox,
yes,
and she now is working for Pat Flynn, who is also like a big um, person on the internet. I think like he does also marketing, but other things too. And he actually was, I think, an architect or something fairly techy, or like fairly not communication related. So, and now he's doing all of this. I think there's so much in people who are um, techie that can lend itself into communication. So do not underestimate it. And yeah, Pat Flynn is PATFLYNN. You can go check him out and see what
yeah,
his
he's
journey
good.
was, and see if you can find something that you can relate to. That
Uh,
was what I wanted to add.
oh, that's great. So that's another thing. In our backpacks are our Rolodex. Remember those, y'all? I never had a Rolodex, but our address book. Everybody that your teachers, the books you read, the people you follow, the memberships you're in, the cohorts you're part of, your peer groups, the connections you have through your life, social media, online, in real life. Those are part of that's what we take with us too. We're not actually doing this alone. It feels like we're doing this alone, but actually we're not. We're all together learning from each other constantly. I just wanted to give Liz Wilcox, I have an affiliate link. Oh, here's her awesome sauce freebie. So part of how do we do it? What's our destination of marketing? So here's how I think of my destination. My destination is to have a repeatable process that will allow me to reach my readers. I guess the destination is I have reached my readers. Readers are buying my books, and readers are enjoying my books because, well, they're going to enjoy them because they're made for a certain kind of audience. So I think this is where I want to go. Like, what is our destination? And I want to welcome, yeah.
Yeah, I think what you did with me a couple of sessions ago, guys, look for it. It was a call that we did on author branding, and Beth was guiding me through my own author branding. I think to me that is kind of related to the goal and to the North Star and to your ideal reader. There's so many names this is called by, but when you're marketing a person who is into table games and maybe would be interested and or I do not know in computer games, into gaming, might be interested. I'm reading right now Carl the dungeon crawler Carl, and that is the audience that book is for. And now it's branching out. Like I don't play games on the computer, but I do enjoy board games quite a lot, and like escape rooms and things like that. So to
Oh,
me, because I like that, even though I don't like computer games, that resonated a lot, and I was kind of afraid of that book. But really having that visual understanding, and don't be afraid to narrow it. Like I think a lot of people, I feel like we talked about this, but I will not stop giving this advice. Do not afraid to narrow it. By narrowing it, there is still so many people. Like if you say, oh, my book is for people who like knitting and making their own applesauce and gardening, and I do not know, something like why buy Wellington boots. Then they have a collection of them. You would be surprised. That's thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands of people. Like it's not a two or a one. Even if you narrow it down, there are actually so many of those people. So try to narrow it down before you widen it up, instead of, oh, I'm trying to appeal to everybody. So think about your author brand, think about your ideal reader. And when you're creating that marketing material, think about where would that person hang out? Because a
okay.
person
So,
who is into Wellington boots might hang
right.
out in a different place than a person who is
That's great.
into lit RPG, or like RPG first
Right.
player games,
Right.
right?
Right. So
That's
that's
where you're
great.
going next.
Yeah. Let's that's great because really our destination is talking to our ideal reader in a way that works for us and works for them. And so, maybe we don't want to, like, I don't do forums like Discord and stuff. So if you ask me to do a forum thing, I'm like, no, right? Like, I'm just not going to do it. But if you tell me my fans are on forum, I'm like, that's great. Let me go find someone who loves Discord and is talking to those fans, because I'm just not going to do it. That's just not my way my brain works. So, but first comes, who is our ideal audience? And I want to back it up. Like, we don't always know. We don't always know who our ideal audience is. So our first marketing adventure is going to be an activity, something that will get us in front of them. And I wanted to, because I want to end today, we have about 5 minutes left, with something tactical, with something specific. So if you are thinking about marketing without ads, and I know you haven't really done ads and I've barely done ads, so we're not talking about ads, y'all, but I do want to presence the fact that if you're going to spend money on, I forget her name. There's people who are say, if you give me some money, I will collect authors of all this genre, the same genre, and I will market them for you in a very specific, these authors with these readers. So that is, and there's special newsletters. I'm sorry, my brain is like offline right now, but I did this with one of my book launches. Is I did spend a little bit of money, which is like advertising money, to get my science fiction or fantasy novel in front of people who were getting these lists of discounted books. Your books, hey, look at these books on sale. But it was specifically for my readers. That is a form of advertising. Yeah. But I've never done Facebook ads or anything like that, or Amazon ads or whatever. So
even if you're going to go to the ads, the stuff that you need to do first that we're talking about right now, you have to know that. Like first, right now, Amazon, Facebook ads are gonna serve you to a wide swath of people, figure out who's actually replying and doing things, and then they're gonna just reserve it. There's a new algorithm and all of that kind of stuff. But essentially, your job becomes, want to make sure that whatever you're putting out, the creative that you're putting out, is very, very targeted to appeal to your ideal reader. So we all would go back, like, it's kind of like, go back, and even if it feels boring, it might feel, well, how do I figure out who my ideal reader is? And we can talk about that, but like, go back to who are the people who will be reading this, and what can I signal in my marketing, in my visuals, in my sales copy, in the places where I go, that will appeal and will capture the people who I'm targeting. And before you go to the ads, my advice is always figure that out. If if you get that down without paying or going into their free newsletters that you can do it as part of the book funnel, like in no cheaper, inexpensive ways. Then once you're like, I know for sure this is my audience, these are the people, this type of visuals appeal to them, this type of language appeals to them, then you go and you start experimenting with ads, with low spend, and etc. But you're going to spend so much money if you're going to try to figure it all out through ads. And I don't have that much money, so figure that out first, and then you're basically scaling with ads. You are not just like,
you don't have to. There's workarounds. But let me just address and say welcome to Karen, who's just finished your first draft in magical realism/romance. Woohoo! Congratulations. The possible cost of marketing makes me nervous. And I love that you said that and shared that, Karen, because I think what's in our backpack is our budget. So instead of, what if you decided, here's the X amount of money I have available to spend on marketing, whether, you could put your marketing $100 towards learning something, or you could actually like print 1,000 bookmarks or maybe more, for $100 you can get quite a lot of bookmarks. So which there's a lot of ways you could spend your money, is my point. So instead of being afraid that you have to spend money, why don't you just decide, this is how much money I want to spend? And I've been a minimalist my whole author career, bootstrapping it this whole way. And I've even done trades with people. My very first novel, Henrietta the Dragon Slayer, someone took a class of mine and designed the first mock-up of that cover. And then my husband got so excited, he put it into Photoshop and he went to town. So But in another book, a nonfiction book, I basically traded for the layout because it needed a fancy layout. So what I'm saying is, if you know what you want and you know what your budget is it time? Is it money? Is it a little bit of money and lots of time? Is it a fair amount of money and small amount of time? Right? That's when we start hiring people. Is it you want to learn everything and then hand it off to people, or you want to learn everything and there's people you know who can help you, or you feel like you don't know anybody who can help you? Start asking. You know us. We know lots of people. And people starting out in their
Start
career.
building your start asking your network.
Start asking your network, because your network, remember, is in your backpack. You know who you know. So and start asking questions like, who do you know? This is how I built my film team, my film crew. Oh, we need such and such. Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? And it's amazing how one person knows lots of people.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And this goes back, I think, I think now that you've mentioned some of the things, what my big block was with marketing, I was not telling people who I actually knew and who knew me about my writing for the longest time. I went online, and because I write romance, there is a considerable amount of stigma, or I don't know, like people are not always super welcoming unless you're already part of the romance community. And I, for the longest time, did not want to tell people in my life. And I was part of a book club, and I knew a lot of like mothers, and that because I have two kids, so I'm part of a lot of different organizations. And I didn't tell my local network for the longest time because I didn't want to say that I write romance, and B, feel like, oh, now she's a writer and all the things that she's always going to be like that, LLM, whatever, the marketing people uh pyramid scheme, that she's also always going to be talking about her books, and whenever she sees me, all I hear is her talking about her books. I did not want to be that person, so what I did is I didn't talk about it at all. And this is kind of the extreme. You definitely don't want to be the person who the only thing that you talk to your friends are your books. But once I broke through, that was more of my internal barrier, and that took the longest to kind of like get over and overcome. Once I started talking about it, actually, people are super helpful, and I got a lot of people showing up for my in-person readings, buying my books, recommending my books to other people, really, really being supportive. And I don't think that I've had any people, at least not in my face, who I know, who said anything negative. They were either supportive or curious. And then the other thing that I learned, I thought that I am talking a lot about my books by saying about them something like, once a year. And there were still people in my book club who didn't even know that I was a writer. Like 2 years after I announced to my book club that I was a writer, because like there's so much information. They did that, maybe they heard it, but they forgot about it. So what we feel we're talking a lot most of the time is not enough still. So getting over that internal fear and start little by little telling some people, more people, you will find a much bigger supportive network than you might have probably thought you have.
Yeah.
That was my barrier. Like, but going
Right.
back to the beginning of the conversation, what was in
Yeah.
my backpack? It was
Right.
the fear of telling the people right around me, because I was
Mhm.
afraid I would be judged, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. This is great. Well, we're going to wrap up for today. So we're going to tell you how to stay in touch with us. Obviously, subscribe to our Substacks. We both have Substacks. And I just want to say, as an assignment, if you would like, thanks, Karen. I'm glad these are good points for you, is what's in your backpack. Yeah, do write about your strengths. Do write about your fears. And I also we mentioned, I don't think we might have mentioned at the beginning, the threshold guardian. In adventure stories, we have our threshold guardian. Who is that personified? Sometimes that's how we find out our fears. Find out what your hopes are, what your dreams are. Where are you going? Who's your ideal audience? And do work on your author branding statement. That was a previous episode. You're welcome to share that with us, and we'll give you feedback on it. So next week, we're probably talking about marketing some more. Maybe we could talk
Yeah, we're gonna
about
keep talking because we want to get into some more specific things too. This month of August is probably gonna be end up
right.
marketing as
Yeah.
well.
And maybe email marketing, because I really want. We
Yeah,
mentioned Liz Williams.
for
We're
sure.
both in her lifetime membership. She has really helped us both. I've been email marketing since the very beginning and helped you get onboarded with that. Anyway, email is a big, big part of my marketing strategy. Let's talk about that next week. How can people find out more about you, Gala?
Well, one more thing before
Okay.
I wanted to say, because I don't think that we spoke that out loud, but what we started as a goal for today's is what is your GMC goal, motivation, conflict in marketing? And I think we covered everything. What is your goal? Who's your ideal reader? What is it that you're trying to achieve? What is the motivation? And then what is the conflict? Like, what are the different fears? The backpack part is part of both the goal and could also be part of the conflict, because if you have fears in your backpack, that could get pretty heavy. Those fears can be really heavy and can take space of other things that are actually more useful. Once you get rid of your fears, you have space for newer and better things. So it feels like, oh, it's not worth time. Like, have an hour on your calendars. Like, if I were to give you a tactical advice after this call, is set an hour on your calendar and think these things through and write them down. What are the things that you already can do that you can use? What are the people in your network, online or in person, that you can go and ask for advice, for help, for all of those things, right? What are your fears? Be honest. If you put the fears, I always say that this is kind of like with Alcoholics Anonymous, saying that I'm an alcoholic is the first step. Saying I am afraid of this thing is the first. Is like naming that fear or those fears, acknowledging them, then you can start figuring out ways to work through them. Spend that hour on putting those GMCs for you and your marketing road for yourself. That will give you so much clarity. And clarity is one of the things I'm always working on with authors. That clarity, not having this jumble, but like having that clarity is going to let you know, okay, now when next time when we're going to talk about the newsletter marketing or how to use Substack or whatever, you're going to be able to say, yes, that is for me. No, that is not for me. And you're not going to be worried about, that's another thing I told Beth, is one of the other big fears and blockers that I had at the beginning. I wanted to do everything when I started marketing. I wanted to do all of the social medias and all of the other things that people were doing. And that is not the way.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
letting go of that. Okay.
Yeah. This is
Sorry.
great. Yeah. There's a few resources in the chat. If you want to reach Gala, she does this wonderful 15-minute conversation with you. That's at galarusauthor.com/15, the numerical, the number 15. Do set your timer for 20 minutes or 5 minutes or an hour to brainstorm on your GMC for book marketing. I love that. My offer to you is, if you would like support around editing your science fiction or fantasy novel, check out my Edit Your Novel checklist. It gives you a high-level overview of how do you start the process of editing your novel. And if you like that, then you're welcome to join our Edit Lab. It's $10 a month, premium episodes, a monthly lab that Gala comes to. It's actually this Wednesday. If you join by tomorrow, you can definitely come to our Wednesday call, get your work looked at, 250 words. And yes, and Karen says, never thought about using GMC for myself and marketing. Very interesting. That's fabulous. I love it. It's something I presented in my Writer's Adventure Guide book that I wrote. This is my very first book that I ever published, a print book, I should say. It's a lovely, lovely workbook that you can work through. And I just recently did a podcast episode inspired by this book, episode 214, in my How to Write the Future podcast, how to self-coach toward your writing North Star. So we're going to stop here because we could keep going. Both of us are teachers, but I like to have short episodes. I know you like long. I like short. You'll see my podcast is short episodes, under 20 minutes. So you're very welcome, Jay. Thank you everyone for coming. This replay will be up soon and on all the socials and YouTube and all of that. Send us a note if you have any questions about marketing, even writing. Thanks for the hearts, guys. Yeah, we will definitely
share what you come up with after your brainstorming. Come back and leave a comment and tell us what were the results of your brainstorming for yourself too. I would love to see that.
I would love to see that too. All right, everyone, we're going to stop here. See you next week. Take care. Bye.
Bye.